right, we're just going to be kind of free-forming here. We're just going to be going, and I'm going to be sending you my thoughts here. But um, we're going to be talking about why Double Exposure failed. We're going to be really going in depth a little bit more in some of the bigger issues, I think, with the game and possibly even with the fandom. Um, Life is Strange has definitely created some of the most iconic characters in gaming history, in my opinion. One of the biggest of them is Chloe Price. She's not just another character in the series, she's honestly a huge part of why I think the original game became what it did, and honestly, the reason Life is Strange got on the map. She definitely built one of the most passionate fandoms in gaming, and in my opinion, I think Chloe Price is one of the main reasons Double Exposure failed. Um, no, don't get me wrong here. I love Chloe with my heart. She's one of my favorite games, or one of my favorite characters in all of gaming history. But um, I think there's a lot of issues with some of the fandom that surround her character, and we're going to be talking a little bit about that. So, the issue here is when you bring back Max Caulfield as the lead, like they did in Double Exposure, everyone in this fandom comes back, even people who, are not maybe a part of the fandom, but they absolutely love Chloe, and it asks the question, we see Max back, but where is Chloe? A lot of people went into this game, asking, where is Chloe going to be? We have Max, we have one of our favorite characters, but now it's time to let's look for freaking Chloe. Um, so she became a big part of the conversation, and one of the main reasons a lot of people bought the game in the first place. Max and Chloe are tied together. So a lot of people went into Double Exposure hoping that they would bring back the characters in a really meaningful way. What we got instead was definitely a huge disappointment. And we're going to start with that. So depending on what ending you get in the first game, we're going to talk about spoilers here, everybody, so just a quick heads up. If Chloe survives, Max and Chloe get broken up by the writing, like forced. You're basically broken up. You're forced by the writing, and the biggest problem with that is the game barely gives you any breakup, like backstory at all. Like there's no depth, there's no emotion, there's no time put into it. Why did they break up? I want to know more. There's some text messages, and if you go more into the story, you can kind of figure out why it was. Without going too much in depth, there's only like a couple minutes of this that you get to see in the game, but the reason they broke up was because Max and Chloe eventually moved apart due to the fact that Chloe feels responsible if she lives for, Arcadia Bay being destroyed. And also, Max is still struggling with losing her powers and stuff like that, and she it's a lot of baggage for both characters to have to deal with. The character has powers, and also the fact that they are kind of responsible for tons of deaths, which eventually led them apart. But in my opinion, it's a huge decision to just immediately break them apart without giving us that backstory at all. What we really needed here was like a good 2 hours of gameplay, flashbacks, emotional conversations, some of the stuff that put Life is Strange on the map to start with, showing, Max and Chloe eventually falling apart. Imagine, just sit back with me and imagine the emotional, roller coaster it would have been just to see these two characters we love fall apart. And for people who chose to sacrifice Chloe, what you could do is, instead of giving us 2 hours with Max and Chloe, I would love for people like me who chose that ending where Chloe dies, 2 hours showing just how hard that was on Max. I would love to see that. I know it would be really hard to see that, but I would absolutely love to see a good just 2 hour backstory of playing Max and seeing how she dealt with it way back. And it's just stuff like that. It would mean the world to the fandom, and it's stuff that we want to see. I'm sure they're gonna give us some of this in Reunion, I'm sure, but I think they could have given us this in Double Exposure and saved more time in Reunion to, give us Max and Chloe together. And I think a lot of Reunion is probably going to be rekindling the relationship and figuring out why it broke, and going into that. But it's just going to be a lot of wasted time that they could have spent in Double Exposure. So I really think they needed like a good couple hours just going back in time, showing us all this, making us cry because we all would have been crying there, seeing our two favorite beloved characters fall apart. But instead, they're like, screw it. Let's just give these people time with new characters, right? People love that. People love new characters. Yes, we do. But guess what? I love new characters. It's some of my favorite things about Life is Strange. But the issue is that they spend time on new characters who subplots ultimately go nowhere. And by the end of the game, we don't give a shit about who these new characters are, which is another big issue with Double Exposure, and that's the characters. Um, it's like the writers just completely forgot what made Life is Strange work. And in my opinion, what made Life is Strange work is the romantic relationships you build, the characters you meet, the dynamics, the beautiful world sceneries, which Double Exposure barely has any. There's like 2 spots in the whole game. I guess like 3, so you got like the school, you got the little restaurant, whatever the hell, and then Max's house, and that's really it. There's like 3 spots. And if you look back at games like Life is Strange 2, there's multiple, multiple sceneries, multiple areas you go to. And a game like Life is Strange 2, you have the woods, there's so many, your grandparents' house, there's so much stuff. And that fresh cast just really created emotional core that earned my investment, and why Life is Strange 2 is one of my favorite Life is Strange games to this day. You move on because the new story gives you a reason to. You can actually move past the fact that Chloe is not in this game, and the fandom can maybe actually find love with the new characters. And even then, with how amazing Life is Strange 2 was, and even True Colors, in my opinion, people still find ways to hate that game just because Chloe's not in it. So, yeah, and the issue here is that Double Exposure does none of that. Does none of what those games did that made them work without Chloe being in it. Which is why bringing a character like Max back, it brings the fandom for the Chloe people back, and for better or worse. And it brings all the baggage and the expectations and the emotional history that we have with these characters, from Life is Strange 1, from Before the Storm. It brings all of that back, and when they choose and force you to make a choice that doesn't really give them justice at all for all the stuff they've been through, it really just pushes those fans who are the super fans who love Chloe, we only want Chloe. It forces them away from the game, and it also forces a lot of the players who aren't super fandom of Chloe but still love her. It also pushes them away too, just because it feels so disingenuous, and it doesn't feel right for how much they've been through to kind of just force that choice on you, not give it the emotional baggage it deserves with how much they've been through. I mean, if Chloe survives, like, you guys have, you technically, like, you've been through almost hell together, and the fact that they would just break up like that without even giving us backstory, much on it, it just feels so, just cheap. And let's talk about the big weakness. Let's talk about the character problem for Double Exposure, which is definitely one of the weakest parts of the game. By the end, I'm not gonna lie, I didn't feel any, emotional weight at all between the new characters they try to create. Like Gwen is a great example. Let's be real here, guys. Let's actually talk about Gwen, a new character that was created in Double Exposure. So, you spend a lot of time with this new character, and by the end, no matter what you do with her, so say you do the proper story with her, you trust her, you choose the right ending for her and everything, no matter what, when you need her to actually do something, you think you're going to get, I did all this work, I spent 3-4 hours talking to this pointless character, I'm going to get something out of it, correct? Like, this is going to be a great payoff. Wrong. Incorrect. Why is that incorrect? The main reason that's wrong is because at the end you need her help with some stuff that's going on with Luke and all that stuff, and you ask her for help. She's like, "Nope, I'm not gonna help. Peace out." and she leaves. It's like, what did I spend 3 hours on this character for? This was wasted screen time. I spent so much time on this character, and she's not even gonna help me at all. She just leaves. Like, what was the point of that? And they also confirmed that she will not be returning in Reunion, so it was just wasted screen time. And that screen time could have been spent with Max and Chloe, the whole situation between them, and showcasing why they broke up, and giving us that emotional storyline that people bought this game to probably to actually invest themselves into those two. And even if they broke Max and Chloe up, no matter what, say they did that, but they gave us the proper backstory, the scenes, why, and build up that story. I think even some of the biggest fandom of Chloe stans still could have appreciated the game for that. But let's talk about Amanda now. So Amanda, in my opinion, one of the most stale. We called her a saltine cracker around here. Very stale. Sorry. It's like a forced romantic option in the game. They want you to care about her, but it's just so unnatural, and the writing behind her is absolutely like just dog awful. Um, it honestly just feels like the game is trying to push her onto Max, no matter what. Like either if Chloe's alive or not. And if Chloe's alive, I feel like a lot of the fans wanted them to get back together. So they're shipping those two. And the fact that they just keep forcing Amanda on you, it just does not sit right with all the stuff that happened between Max and Chloe, and not even giving us the backstory to understand why they broke up. Um, like if you ship Chloe or Max or not, depending, it's still one of the most important relationships like in the entire franchise, and honestly what created this amazing franchise. And I think they really need to do better justice with those two characters. So trying to replace that emotional history with something that feels just extremely underdeveloped and forced, it's just the writing was so bad. And my biggest issue with Amanda is no matter what happens, if you decide to go for her or not, um, she will always say she dodged a bullet with you. She always just hates on Max no matter what, and it's just pointless. So yeah, really bad. Another pointless character. Safi, we're talking about Safi. She, in my opinion, was the only new interesting character that they brought to us on paper. But by the end of the game, honestly, I just found myself not giving a shit about her. Just so many things that happened around her with just huge subplots, and kind of ruined all that with all what they did at the end of the game, and some of the last choices. It really shows the inconsistencies with the game, and it's just the characters. Like Life is Strange just revolves purely around the characters, and the fact that none of them were good in this game. Yeah, it really just stacked up upon that. The only character in Double Exposure, in my opinion, who is good is Max. I think they did a great job with Max, but uh, just none of the other characters around her. Um, and let's talk about the ending. So the ending was also one of the main reasons why I think Double Exposure failed. So the ending, it's definitely just extremely disconnected from what Max has been through, all the emotional lessons she's learned. So throughout the games, like Life is Strange 1, all that, Max learns that using her powers for bad has extreme consequences and loss tied to it. And somehow, the last choice in Double Exposure basically lets you decide if you tell Safi, let's use our powers for good or bad. And it's just like, in what world would someone pick let's use our powers for bad, knowing everything that Max has been through? It just doesn't feel right. And I went back and replayed this game, and it's funny that like 10 minutes before, the game forces you into a dialogue that makes it so Max will literally tell Safi, we can't use our powers for bad. And then 10 minutes later, you can tell her, let's use our powers for bad. And what really pissed me off was, sorry, I'm getting emotional over here. What really pissed me off was the fact that if you go to the choices, you'll see that most people actually picked and told Safi, let's use our powers for bad. And I think that's a clear tell that, like, a lot of fans gave up on this game and they didn't finish it, and a lot of people just didn't care by the end. Because if you pick that, you just don't understand Life is Strange, in my opinion. You don't understand everything that we've learned through all these games. You got to use your powers for right. Everything has consequences, stuff like that, and it's just I don't know. It just really feels out of touch with the whole game and everything. So yeah, so it just feels out of character for Max. But let's talk about the basically let's talk about where we have to go from here. So how does the Life is Strange genre, how does it get better? How do we bring it back to what it used to be? And what I honestly think, even though I hate to say it, I love my Chloe, I love my Max. I think what made us fall in love with these games in the first place is the new characters, the new relationships, even the new romances. I think Life is Strange 2 True Colors really show us that with new characters and new relationships and everything, it's really where these devs and these writers strive, just making beautiful worlds where we fall in love. And it's so clear that with this, with Double Exposure, they tried so hard to just do the slop of bringing back characters, and it just didn't work. You could tell like there's no creativity with it at all. And I really think they just have to, I hate to say it, I think they just have to start from scratch, make new worlds, make new characters without Max and Chloe. Now, for Reunion, with Reunion coming up, is there hope for Reunion? I really think they're going in the right path based on what they've shown us. They're bringing, Chloe back, no matter what, depending on any of your endings. And I know a lot of people are going to say that ruins the Life is Strange 1 ending, and I kind of agree. But I think they're doing it in the best way possible with how they're bringing her back. So I think there is hope for the future, at least for them to end off Max and Chloe's story. And they did confirm that this will be the last game for them. There is hope, guys. Just hold on. I really think they're actually going to cook with this new game, and then to give us the time that those two characters deserve together. It's just the main issue I think with Reunion is I just don't care about the other characters. Like Safi, I don't give a shit. Moses is okay, but like Amanda, Vin, or whatever the hell his name is, I don't give a shit about Vin. So we're really just gonna have to see what they do. It's just all I really care about going into this game is Chloe and Max, but I'm sure that's only gonna be like half the game, and the other half is gonna be the new characters that we don't care about. So they're really gonna have to do a great job bringing these new characters back, and we'll see what they do. But honestly, guys, I'm so excited for Reunion, and I hope you guys are too. Either you buy it or not. You could just watch someone play it for free. If you don't want to risk it. And speaking of which, I will be playing the game hour 1 on my stream. So if you guys like the content here, I will be playing it. And yeah, I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. This is definitely kind of just like random design here, but I really just wanted to speak my thoughts on this. And I think, guys, I hate to say it, I do think a main reason why Life is Strange is failing these days is because of the Chloe fandom. We love Chloe, she's one of the best characters ever, but I really think people are just too stuck with her, and they can't give all these other games that are amazing a chance, like Life is Strange 2. And I think moving past Chloe is just best for the fandom. And yeah, thanks guys.